Good morning, this is Shelby Law with the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Friday, September 15th, 2023. The fire potential impacts for the next couple of days are shown here. We don't have too much to talk about, really. There's some isolated showers and thunderstorms in southern and southeast Utah today. And then along the Sierra front, just some isolated storms there on Saturday and Sunday. Otherwise, warm, dry conditions are expected through the weekend with light winds area-wide. Here are the past 24 hours of precip and lightning. We did have some showers and thunderstorms there in southern Nevada and in portions of far southern and eastern Utah. New initial attack activity was pretty light, 6 fires for 6 acres. The precip for the past 14 days is shown here. This is basically so far in the month of September. It's been a pretty wet month so far in a few areas, especially central Nevada, southern or southwest Utah and southern Nevada. There are some dry spots out there that remain, eastern Utah and portions of the Snake River Plain that are on the drier side. Overall fire danger values are still below the 60th or the 50th percentile across the geographic area. Some of those values are coming up under the warm and dry conditions and will continue to come up for the next couple of days, but not significantly. If we take a closer look at a few of these areas here in southwest Idaho, those values are below normal for the time of year, but getting closer to those normal values. However, normal is not that high for this time of year as far as fire danger, overall fire danger is concerned. Further south and east over southeast Utah, those values also are right around average for the time of year, which is well below the peak that usually happens in June or July, and certainly well below any historical maximums. This morning's satellite imagery, here we're looking at water vapor imagery. We can see a high pressure ridge building into the west coast in the western U.S. with drier air really moving into the Great Basin. There's some lingering moisture over southeast Utah that will kick off those showers and thunderstorms today, otherwise drier air moving in. Again, by this afternoon, warmer, drier air moving into the Great Basin with just we can see that moisture really starting to move off to the east that will be in place today over southeast Utah. Closer look maybe where some of those storms will be occurring, the higher elevations of southern and southeast Utah, and they will be fairly isolated today. Minimum relative humidities are on the lower side over much of Nevada, especially the northwest corner of the state where they're near single digits. On Saturday, the ridge remains in place for warm, dry conditions and light winds area-wide. Highs will be in the near 90, maybe low 90s in Boise and near 90 in Reno, a little bit cooler on the eastern side, and winds will be light pretty much everywhere. If we do see an isolated thunderstorm along the Sierra front, we could see some gusty outflow winds from those storms. And more of the same is expected on Sunday, with the ridge still remaining in place over the basin, warm, dry, with light winds. So by Sunday, the minimum relative humidities will continue to decrease under that ridge. So low RHs in the mid-teens across much of the Great Basin, including the Snake River Plain and much of Nevada and western Utah. We do start to see some winds pick up a little bit over the central Idaho mountains ahead of a low pressure that's developing up the Pacific coast. 3-day precip totals are shown here. Really just some isolated storms today over the Utah mountains. On Monday, we begin to see that low starting to strengthen or develop there along the Canadian coast. And that will begin to bring possibly some gustier winds further north. Maybe a little bit of moisture starts to move in, or at least some cloud cover on Monday. On Tuesday, the low continues to deepen and strengthen a bit. We'll see some winds pick up across the Snake River Plain and portions of Nevada, with a little bit of moisture coming in as well. And more of the same on Wednesday. That trough continues to deepen across the western U.S., and we'll see a band of moisture in place across central Nevada up into southeast Idaho, with cooler temperatures in these areas as well. and then we'll see that low moving overhead right over the Great Basin by Thursday. Still some wind in place, but cooler temperatures and moisture here and there as well. No high risk for this event, although winds will be something we'll be keeping an eye on. The 7-day precip totals are shown here. Again, with that low coming in through the work week next week, we can see some moisture moving into the east central Idaho mountains, western Wyoming, and coming to portions of Utah and northeast Nevada. There are some spots that remain dry with this next low, including southwest and south central Idaho and much of Nevada. The extended forecast through September 22nd through the 28th puts cool temperatures across the entire western U.S. below normal, and then above normal chances for precip across much of the Great Basin as well, especially the north. This concludes today's fire potential briefing. Please check back tomorrow for the latest updates.